Hello everybody, I'm Firas. Welcome to my channel. So, this is the second video of my channel, and even though I had a different idea for this week, let's do something else. So, fair warning, I do go on tangents and I kind of ramble, so kudos to anyone who stays until the end. Anyways, so this week, or for this video, I would like to approach perfectionism and self-deprecation. And why is that? So last weekend I was invited to the concert of a friend of mine. I won't name drop the band or the guy. Thing is, I had a great time. So it was an actual very good concert by a band that I knew little to nothing about. I've seen a couple of clips with them on YouTube, and that's about it. So, but all of them really pro, really, in the pocket, in the groove. Everything was great. But one thing that he said when he saw me after the first half of the show reminded me of stuff I used to do a long, long time ago. And I still do. And this was the thing, it was kind of like a strange mirror, let's say. So I went to him after the first half to say, "Hey man, it sounds really great. You and your band are really tight together, and I love it. And thanks again for the invitation." And he said, "Yeah, but I think you already heard like all my mistakes." And I was like, "Oh, that's not the point." And actually, that reminded me of stuff that happened to me a long time ago when I was playing. For example, I was playing. I was saying in the first video, I used to be part of a duo. I think we had no name. That's a thing for me. It seems like bands with no name. But so I was playing with my good friend Dan, and at some point we landed this gig. It was like a weekly thing in a bar, well, a cafe. It was called Art Deco Cafe. It was a really 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 nice cafe, and like imagine Empire State Building like inside. Even the toilet was amazing, even though that's a bit strange to say. But anyways, so the interior design was great, and kind of staying in the same vein with the theme of the cafe. We adapted our repertoire. We were playing mostly swing from the 30s, of course. So a lot of Duke Ellington. Just behind us was like a screen, and they used to screen old mute movies, and the thing that usually they were screening Charlie Chaplin. And I mean, it was really funny for us. We were kind of remaking the soundtrack of the movie. However, I remember this gig. We were doing our regular set, like swings and bossa novas and whatever. Even the bossa novas are not from the 30s, but anyways, nobody knew that. And they were screening Modern Times. There were two guys, like let's say maybe a couple of meters away from us, like two tables away from us, from that kind of improvised stage we're playing on. And they were watching us like this, man. Like they were laser focused. And I thought nothing of, or mostly nothing of it. However, while watching that wonderful movie, I made a mistake. So I was usually playing the melodies and then was comping, and we were switching. But usually I was starting the melodies, and I made a mistake. I mean, I don't know what song it was, T42, whatever. That doesn't matter. And I went out, like really outside. I was playing outside, which let's say for a swing, a very melodic type of song was not working. And one of the guys went like, "Aha!" and they got out, just got out. And I don't remember what we did. If we stopped, if we continued, whatever. But we were thinking and we were talking about it afterwards. We got each like a coffee, and we're like, man, such a sad thing, to come to a cafe like this Art Deco cafe and to only hunt for mistakes of musicians. And I don't know if, by the way, if any of you guys are from Eastern Europe. I'm Romanian, by the way. Please write me if anything like that happened to you in Eastern Europe, because I have a theory which was slightly confirmed by some other fellow Eastern Europeans, Poles, Croatians, Bulgarians, that we have a certain inferiority syndrome because we always compared ourselves to the western half of the world, especially during and after the fall of communism. And I think we got to this level of snobbery which is out of proportion. And I'm curious if this happened to any of you, like this sort of stories. And this, going back to the concert, which was great, by the way, and man, it was great. I won't drop any names and stuff, but actually, it was a great concert, and I love your music. Yeah, I nobody in the crowd is there to hunt mistakes usually. Okay, there are those guys. Okay, I just told the story, but usually people are coming to a show to enjoy it, to enjoy the show, the experience, to enjoy, because there will be no two shows the same. There won't be like, it's one of those things that it will never repeat itself exactly the same. So this also reminds me of a story. So I was telling in my Hi, I'm Fidas video, I was telling you guys about my time in Improvisland a bit, of course. So we got invited to this radio show. I think it was one, two, three, four of the actors and me, plus the presenter, and we took turns in presenting ourselves. And I was like, okay, I'll be last because they are in focus. Of course, I'm in a support role here. And well, when they got to me, they kind of, my colleagues introduced me as the musician of the group. And here is a caveat: we have at least three words in Romanian for musician. So the top tier word is musician, musician. So it's someone who is educated in music, studied, maybe attended a conservatory of music or stuff like that. So people refer to a musician someone who studied classic music usually. Then we have musicant, which is also musician, but that's usually more for like the jazz cats, like people with street cred, let's say, right? So it's a different word. It's kind of, it's not too much derivative, but it's under. Anyways, it's below musician. And then we have lautar. Lautar at origin, I won't go into etymology here, but comes from lauta, which is lute, right? So it was more or less minstrel, let's say, in the times of old. And it's usually uneducated musicians who play folkloric music. And those are the different tiers of musicians we have. But I was presented as a musician, and seems like that struck a chord in one of the in someone in the audience, and a lady called, and she thanked us for I don't know, for being there, I guess. And she had a question for me, and I was quite surprised. I was like, okay, this entire show is about them, the actors, and what they do. But and she was like, so how can you consider yourself a musician when that would mean you would be in the same league with people like Bach and Mozart and Liszt and Chopin. And I have to say, even though I'm usually prepared with with a remark, I was a bit taken by surprise by that comment. And one of my colleagues from Improv Disneyland, I will name drop, but he was, man, that guy was like spot on. And he was like, well, excuse me, madam, but what is your profession? And she was like, I am professor of chemistry and I'm working in an industrial whatever complex of sorts. And he was like, okay, so how can you call yourself a chemist when you would have to be in the same league with Marie Curie? Oh man, that was like savage. And she just, yeah, she had no more things to say. She was like, clack. So yeah, so this is what I'm talking about. This Eastern European inferiority syndrome, which comes across as superiority. You know, like there's the top tier of whatever, and the mere mortals. And this sort of stuff, this sort of thinking and mentality creates this, I don't know, perfectionistic self-absorbed thing, I guess, which, well, I this never goes anywhere, you know. If you're so perfection, as someone very aptly put it, perfect is the enemy of good. So you could have a good musician, a good whatever, and a good product that you're putting together. But if you're always looking for that destructive perfection, you might never release anything. Two, you might never get out of your house. And the worst, you might never get out of your head. You will always be, self-reflecting and self-observing, like, oh yeah, I hesitated here and I did that mistake. Oh no, I messed up. So it doesn't matter. It really doesn't matter. Like I just said a couple of minutes ago, the public is there to enjoy a show and not to, usually, right? And not to hunt for your mistakes and or, you know, give you like a review at the end. Like, oh yeah, in bar 53, you messed up an E flat, which should have, come on. Usually people don't do that. And yeah, another story related to the same perfection and same thing. Let me check if yeah, it's still working. Cool. So I have another story about this sort of stuff. I heard it by proxy. By so this story comes from classic guitar professor in the conservatory of Bucharest, and just before pretty important concert in a pretty important concert hall in Bucharest, Sala Radio, he instructed his pupils. So, by the way, they were all really good guitar players already. All of the pupils taking part in that concert and that show, and but of course, being such an important venue and such an important event, plus they were recording it both for radio and TV, and it was broadcasted live. So yeah, of course, the pressure was there, and he told them that. So here's the deal, guys. Let's presume that half of the audience knows anything about classical guitar. Okay? So let's say if we have like 1,000 people in the audience, we, usually there's more than that, but let's keep it simple. Let's say 500 people know about classic guitar. Okay. Then half of the 500, so 250, they know, they play a bit of classic guitar. They studied classic guitar. Okay. Then half of those, so 125, 125 people, they actually heard that song, that particular song. Cool. So maybe they heard it. Maybe half of it, so there's like 62.5, less 63 people. They actually studied that song, okay? At some point in their life. And from those 60 something people, let's say half of them actually know the song really well. So you get around 30 people that know the song really well. In the heat of the moment, you might do a mistake. And if you get locked on it, you zero in on your mistake, everyone will see. I mean, you do a grimace, you stop, that's the worst. When you stop is the worst. And so on and so forth. Let's say you don't remember a certain passage. You either skip it or it's in the end it's classic guitar, so you're alone, more or less, if it's a solo piece. If it's a piece with an ensemble, yeah, that gets a bit more complicated. But what he was saying is that, so from those 30 people, maybe half of them would notice that you messed up some notes, maybe 15, right? And from those, maybe seven, let's say seven, maybe seven, they could pinpoint on a lead sheet, like, oh yeah, measure 129, you messed up. But if you stop or if you hesitate, if you do anything, everyone will see. 1,000 people will notice. So it's better to either skip the part or just improvise whatever, do an arpeggio, do whatever chromaticism works there, do whatever works just to get over it, to get most of it done, right? So, because of course, like seven people who will, could do a critique for you at the end and would say like, man, you messed up there. It's still better than 1,000 from the entire audience who would say, oh, the concert was like, I mean, the guitar player stopped and. All right, so what are the takeaways? Well, first of all, I would say try not to get in your head. And again, this is also a message for me. It applies to me 100% as well. I also sometimes go into my head and you know fail to see the big picture, and the big picture is you're there to do a show, you're there to entertain people, and you're also there to enjoy yourself. This music, at least because I'm a musician first and foremost, is to change moods, and for me is the most important thing ever. Let's try to get less in our heads, and let's try to do a better show, and let's try to think a bit more about our audience. Music is more than perfection. It's about a good show, and it's about good entertainment. So yeah, that was my video for this week. I'm Firas. Thank you for watching my channel. And if you like this one, you can check that one, or I don't know, well, I'll put it somewhere on the screen. You can also find my two albums here. I think I'll put some things at the end, some cards or whatever they're called. And yeah, see you in the next one. See you next week. Ciao.